Thank you, Mr. Hunt. Good evening. I would first like to thank everyone who is here supporting this year's graduates. To the Board of Directors and to the administration, thank you for your wisdom and care for the school. To the faculty and staff, thank you for your tireless work and for building personal relationships with us, your students. And to the families here, parents specifically, no student would be at this amazing school if it were not for you. StoneBridge School is the reason I have an incomparable education, an infallible faith, and an encouraging relationships that will last past high school. So we thank you and we love you. Class of 2023, we have completed high school. Most of us started together, then a couple people bandwagoned, but now we're all here. We have gone through many things that have challenged us, but we did it. We are about to graduate high school. When I was sitting down to write this speech, I didn't know what I wanted to talk about, which is what happens every single time I sit down to write. But this is where my 14 years at StoneBridge paid off. I resorted to the 4 R's. I thought about my life, so research. I reasoned through my own experiences and related them to the class of 2023, and then I recorded. In doing so, I realized there are 2 main traits that I've lived by and believe are necessary for a successful future. These traits are discipline and courage. When I began the process of applying to the Naval Academy last spring, I was required to submit my class ranking. It was at this time that I found out that I was currently one of the top 2 students in the class of 23. I had not even considered being the valedictorian or salutatorian, nor was I motivated by the title. This may sound foolish or not like me, because if you know me, I have a competitive spirit, but I really didn't care. It was at this moment that I realized I was more concerned with what other people were thinking. So yes, in all honesty, I didn't want to be valedictorian or salutatorian because of other people's judgment. I didn't want to be recognized, because that's cringy, right? A boy being the smartest in his class? A boy caring about school? Come on, it's funny when you get bad grades, right? But being valedictorian doesn't mean I care the most about school or even that I'm the smartest. I strongly believe valedictorian speaks only to discipline. Purely studying is not what gets a student high A's, nor does motivation. Discipline does. Jocko Willink said it best. Motivation is just emotion. Motivation sways with emotion. It can't be controlled. It is not constant, it is loose, and it is fickle. However, discipline is something that you dictate. It is steady and reliable. I wanted to win 2 state titles in outdoor track this year. I was motivated, but motivation did not cause me to achieve my goal. Discipline did. Motivation did not wake me up at 4 a.m. to change into running clothes, drive to a track, and complete my workout. Discipline did. And I almost let other people's judgment stop me from being disciplined. But I remembered that letting other people's judgment influence me from being disciplined is not what we are called to do. I should work hard. We are called by God to do everything to the best of our ability, except for AP exams sometimes. I'm just kidding, Mr. Garrett. Jokes aside, we should care about what needs to be done. And school's a part of that. Our spiritual life is too. The Christian life is not easy. It requires discipline. We know that truth, and we are told that truth in the Bible. And I want to tell you now that discipline is vital, so that when you grow up, you don't have to find that out later and regret building a disciplined lifestyle. And when we choose to live each day with discipline, we might be ridiculed for being a try-hard or for being just different, but we are called by God to be set apart, to be different, and that takes courage. If you know me, you know that this year I had an extreme interest in photography and videography. I was always making basketball hype videos or taking flicks of the track team at the state meet, and it became a new obsession of mine. I would spend hours editing videos and pictures so that everything was perfect before I sent it into Miss Turney. One of the tools I used the most when editing was the contrast tool. Contrast is the degree of difference between the brighter and darker parts of an image. Increasing the contrast will increase the image, thus sharpening the image. Decreasing the contrast will decrease the difference, thus softening the image. Most of you are probably familiar with this editing tool, and you probably use it all the time when editing for Instagram. The key to a perfect edit is adjusting the contrast so that it enhances the photo while making it so subtle that no one can really tell. What a great example of how many Christians are living, with the contrast up, but only so much that no one can tell a difference. I would never post a picture with the contrast all the way up. It's too noticeable, and it doesn't look good to the judgmental eyes of my followers. But this is how God has called me and you to live, with our contrast all the way up, so everybody notices the difference. Living life in this way takes serious courage. Being strikingly different in a world where there's constant pressure to conform is challenging and often results in feeling left out, being deemed not cool, and not having many friends. Recently, an NFL player, Henry Ruggs III, left a party going 156 miles an hour, drunk at 3 a.m. He crashed into another car, killing an innocent woman. Nick Saban, the Alabama coach, talked to his team after the incident. Instead of saying, "Who was Henry Ruggs to be drinking and driving that fast, that early?" he said, "Who were his teammates, his peers, to let him do that? If somebody would have just taken his keys away, it would have made him mad, but would he be better off now? Or was he better off going 156 miles an hour, hitting someone and killing them? He's in jail now. He doesn't have a career anymore. And he's a good kid. Class of 23, we are all good kids." On this night, Henry Ruggs was lacking the discipline to not drink and drive, and his friends were lacking the courage to stop him. We all know Joshua 1:9, as it is often a required memory verse, demonstrating its importance. It says, "Be strong and courageous. Do not be terrified. Do not be discouraged. For the Lord your God will be with you wherever you go." In Henry Ruggs' case, the choice to conform was a matter of life or death. The situation is typically more subtle, but choosing to go against the crowd is our calling. It is the life God called you to, a difficult one, a courageous one, but a disciplined one. Thank you.